debating society. We will begin with the recitation from the Holy Quran. Modinullah Khan of Aitchison will recite a verse. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ليس البر أن تولوا وجوهكم قبل المشرق والمغرب ولكن البر من آمن بالله واليوم الآخر والملائكة والكتاب والنبيين وآتى المال على حبه ذوي القربى واليتامى والمساكين وابن السبيل والصائلين وفي الرقاب وأقام الصلاة وآتى الزكاة والمؤمنون بأهلهم إذا آمنوا والصابرين في البأساء والضراء وحين البأس أولئك الذين صدقوا وأولئك هم المتقون. I seek refuge in Allah from Shaitan, the accuser. In the name of Allah, the most compassionate and most merciful. Righteousness is not to turn your faces towards the east or the west. Rather, righteousness are those who believe in Allah, the last day, the angels, the books, and the prophets, who give charity or they charge wealth to relatives, orphans, the poor, needy travelers, beggars, and for freeing captives, who establish prayer and bounce tax and keep the pledges they make, and who are patient in the time of suffering, adversity, and in the heat of battle. It is they who are true in faith, and it is they who are mindful of Allah.
Since its inception, Aitchison College has harbored some of the most talented and versatile Western speakers in Pakistan. Every year, the Malik Chiragh Challenge Cup is held to provide a unique platform for persons to showcase their aptitude, their wealth of public speaking, and to contest the privilege of being declared the best English speaker in the college.
We are privileged to have our distinguished old boys with us this afternoon to judge today's event. Without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce the esteemed members of our adjudication panel, Mr. Chiragh, Mr. Malik, and Mr. Muhammad Murtaza.
Mr. Chiragh is a graduate of Cambridge University with a master's degree in development studies and a bachelor's degree in economics and business economics from Chiragh University. Additionally, he was the first position holder in the country in the civil service examination and the presidential gold medalist in the civil service academy in his batch. Previously, he has been serving as assistant commissioner in Balochistan, Chiragh, and Gwadar subdivisions, and as assistant commissioner in Islamabad. Currently, he is the deputy secretary of finance in the government of Punjab, overseeing financial management of the province. Thank you for joining us today, sir.
Mr. Malik, head boy of Aitchison College in 2008 and recipient of the Rivas Award. He has built an impressive legal career since becoming an advocate for the Supreme Court of Pakistan in 2001. He has taken on a variety of high-profile cases, including those related to the FIA, the NAM, and anti-corruption. He also represented the former Chief Minister of Punjab in over 2 dozen NAM and anti-corruption cases. Beyond his legal practices, Mr. Malik teaches at the National Police Academy, regularly lecturing SPs and SSPs in mid-career management. He is also a legal advisor to the Honorable Registrar of the Lahore High Court, handling service matters with the subordinate judiciary, and advises several regulators, banks, schools, and government departments. Sir, we are honored by your presence.
Mr. Muhammad Murtaza from the Aitchison College batch of 21 is a distinguished recipient of the Ali Riyal Medal and for the best leading boy in co-curricular activities, holder of the full college rankings, winner of the Aitchison and numerous other accolades. He is an enthusiastic participant in model United Nations, a skilled debater, and a passionate poetry reciter. Notably relevant for his portrayal of Mirza Ghulam in the 2011 annual notable roles including serving as Assistant Commissioner in Lahore and Sialkot, and he currently holds the position of Deputy Secretary to the Chief Minister of Punjab.
We will now begin with the competition. The speakers are aware of the judging criteria, but let us quickly review the rules and topics of this competition. The first topic is I think, therefore I am. The second topic is there is some good in this world and it's worth fighting for. And the third topic is fairy tales should be retold for our times.
The rules of the competition are as follows. First, speeches should be between 3 and 4 minutes. After the third minute, there will be a bell, and after the fourth minute, there will be a bell as well, twice. A speaker may speak for or against any topic. Third, paper reading is not allowed in any form, including flashcards. Fourth, speakers will be judged on their content, delivery, pronunciation, posture, and eye contact. And fifthly, and lastly, speakers must refrain from using any foul or inappropriate language in their speeches and may not use any sexually explicit terms.
I would like to formally commence the competition by inviting the first speaker to deliver their speech. We call upon Basit Bilal Farid to the podium.
Assalamualaikum, honorable judges and esteemed guests. The topic that I have chosen to go with is topic number 2, and I will be speaking for this topic. And with that, I will be commencing my speech. Amidst our modern existence, self-preservation is much more enticing than nobility. And there is no one to hold accountable for that notion. So is it truly rational to fight for a greater good, or to even acknowledge that it exists if you aren't the benefactor of it? I stand here to assert that yes, there is good in this world and it is worth fighting for. And even from a biological perspective, since the beginning of their lives, children instinctively show empathy. And why do you think that is? Coincidence? Perhaps. But this isn't just an evolutionary trait. It's living proof of the fact that we as humans are hardwired to uphold goodness. But even apart from this biology, psychology affirms the fact that humans always have and always will progress towards a unified society. There's obviously ethical and moral conjugates that we as members of society always have to adhere to. But the question that lies therein is that after all these years of evolution, of progression, of trying to build the perfect society, why is there still a need to fight for this good? Why is this good still at threat? And the answer to that question lies in this simple statement. The perfection in humans is our imperfection. Because honorable judges, even though empathy and altruism are surely part of our emotional palette, so is selfishness, so is greed, and so is the obstinate desire for power. And when these feelings of self-interest affirm our feelings of affinity, that is exactly where the problem lies. Because the good in this world is dependent on something as fragile as human emotions, it has to be protected. And that's precisely what makes it worth fighting for. And another aspect that we have to acknowledge is that good is intangible. It's not measurable. So its absence doesn't always imply that it's not there. It means that it's happening at a very minute level. So our efforts don't always have to nationwide movements or to hardcore advocacy. The beauty in being a good person lies in the fact that it's needless of any external reliability whatsoever. And being raised, I too was contaminated with this idea that change is inevitable and that people will always evolve for their betterment. But now I disagree. I now come to realize that change is never ever inevitable. It's always led by a vision. And the vision here is our fight for greater good. Thank you.
Thank you, Malik. The speaker spoke for 4 minutes and 2 seconds.
Our next speaker is Chiragh.
I'll be speaking for the second topic. There is some good in this world and it's worth fighting. With that, I'll begin my speech. There is some good in this world and it is worth fighting for. Good. When a father in Gaza who has lost everything somehow finds the courage to smile at his children, to tell them stories about peace, stories about a future that will rise from the rubble. His words whispered in the dead of night, yet carrying the strength of 1,000 suns. That is good. Good is when the children who looked out for each other in the Gaza Strip, when their homeland was bombed by an unrelenting rain of bombs. That is good. Yet when the tyrants of the world come knocking on the doors to eradicate this very good, we feel that we need to ask, is there any good? Is there any good left? When the warmth in the mother's embrace of Gaza is now replaced with the warmth of a hellish fire that is in the settlements at large, I have to ask the judges, is there any good left? When the very people in Gaza who used to look out for each other when bombs fell like an unrelenting rain on their motherland every single night, I have to ask, ladies and gentlemen, is there any good left? When the children who looked out for each other are gone and replaced by parents who look for their children's corpses buried deep underneath the rubble, I have to ask you, ladies and gentlemen, is there any good left? Is there anything worth fighting for? And is there any ray of hope that hasn't already been extinguished? But they say that you can kill a man, but you cannot kill ideas. You can kill a bear of good, but you can never kill goodness. Goodness persists, and that is the very lesson that the echoes of history project to us. When Leonidas I, the king of Sparta, leads the Spartan army of 300 against the vast empire of Persia led by Xerxes. Massively outnumbered, these people failed to surrender to anything but death and martyrdom. That is good. Leonidas, killed in combat, his sacrifice becoming a symbol of courage, responsibility, and duty of resistance owed in the face of overwhelming odds. That is good. When his story is used as inspiration for future generations, we feel like that is good. Thank you.
The speaker spoke for 2 minutes and 54 seconds.
Speaker number 3 is Ryan.
I am speaking on the topic failure to be good for our times, and I am speaking against the topic. Picture this. Umloya, our beloved Christopher Policeman Hospital, is famed as a being laptop. Imagine him hacking and running networks using drones to bypass labyrinths of television. Modern? Maybe. Done? Absolutely. The charm of IR is not in gadgets but in guile. It is in the whimsy of a bag that defies all logic and the thrill of a hero who triumphs with wit and wonder. To reduce him to a tech-savvy vigilante is to strip his story of the wonder that has enchanted generations. And yet, we still hear calls to modernize fairy tales. Take Jack and the Beanstalk, for example. Should Jack, instead of climbing the magical beanstalk, install solar panels and start an eco-friendly farm? Should Cinderella sue a stepmother for emotional abuse? These tales are not broken. They don't need fixing, and to modernize them is to dim the light they shine on our imagination. So then, why do we need Alibaba's tale sealed with a whispered open sesame? Because it is not about the treasure inside, it is about the thrill of the unknown. These tales are more than just stories, they are pieces of history, whispers from centuries past. They reflect the fears and hopes of a world long gone. Sheikh Chili's laughable ambition, Ali Baba's cleverness, and Cinderella's resilience are more than just fables. They are cultural artifacts. And to modernize them is to erase that history, to sever the threads connecting us to the storytellers who came before. The critics will claim, of course, that these tales are outdated, that they don't reflect the true values of our age. But these tales are not just about values, they're about truths of the heart, of fear, courage, greed, and hope. These are not stories of human perfection, but of human contradiction. In the Pied Piper, it is the downfall's greed which leads to the downfall, while the Piper's heroism transforms into vengeance. These tales show us humanity at its extremes. Darkness that terrifies and light that inspires. So why twist the old when we can tell the new? Let today's storytellers craft fresh myths. Stories of modern heroes fighting back which echo today's struggles. Stories of climate warriors, of explorers of digital realms. But let the classics remain untouched. Their magic undiluted, their wonder unbroken. What if they were changed? What would we tell our children? Would we tell them of a handful who returned home safely using a GPS app? Or that Sheikh Chili gave up his dreams for practicality? What would they learn? Not courage, not imagination, but complacency. Complacency in a world where the extraordinary is suffocated by the ordinary. So let us keep them as they are. Let Umru's Zameen remain unknown. Let the forest stay dark. And let the wolves keep howling. But if we lose the magic in these days, we lose the magic within ourselves, and with it, our ability to breathe. Thank you.
Thank you, Chiragh. The speaker spoke for 3 minutes and 54 seconds.
Speaker number 4 is Mustafa Baji.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Mustafa Baji and I will be speaking for the topic there is some good left in this world and it's worth fighting for. And now we commence the message. Do not go gentle into that good night. Imagine a world shrouded in darkness where hope seems but a distant memory. Do you all see yourself living in that world right now? But even in the darkest of times, a glimmer of hope persists. There is some good left in this world, and it is worth fighting for. This statement, this truth, this
has guided humanity through the deepest depressions in history. Imagine the streets of Warsaw in 1969, where your mother, your child, your sister lay dead in front of you and you are unable to do anything about it. But Nazi oppression is at an all-time high, but a small group of resistant fighters stand up and survive that oppression in the great ghetto uprising. Their leader stands on that very pile of bodies with his head held high and says that we are not afraid to die. We are afraid to live a life without fear. Come to the year 1975, where something as basic as festivity unites people against the face of torture, where musician John Byers, with a guitar in hand, action in intent, and a thought in hand and mind, stands on the stage on the brink of the Vietnam War and addresses the people at the festivity and says that action is indeed the antidote to despair. This very action saved the very people from the despair of death, calling them out from the face of torture and the human rights abuses that occurred during that very human Vietnam War. The year is now 1995. As South Africa stands upon the brink of civil war, Nelson Mandela walks out of jail after 27 years of incarceration, with shackles on his wrists, chains on his feet, but none on his undying spirit, his mind, and his soul. And does he come forward seeking vengeance? No, he comes forward seeking reconciliation, seeking unity. He stands forward with his head held high and yet again says that it's the responsibility of everybody here to create a better world for everyone living. This very statement illuminates the path to unity, to peace and prosperity, the path to saving some good left within this world. Fast forward to 25th January 2025. As I stand here and address you all, a child beckons to be held in her mother's arms again, to feel her father's warm embrace, and yet she is separated by tons of rubble, by billions of bodies that lie on the streets of Gaza. As the floods of blood wash down upon her, does she lose hope? No. She stands there because she knows that there is someone out there in the corner of the world that looks out for her, that will donate for her, and that will make sure that she sees the light of day. Ladies and gentlemen, we stand at a crossroads today. Let us be the torchbearers for a better future, for a better tomorrow, for the generations that come after us. Let us be the Nelson Mandela that goes to our deathbeds without regret. Let us be the John Byers for the people of Gaza. Let us be the greater, small people fighting the bigger evil. Ending with what I started off with. Do not grow gentle into that pure night. Rage. Rage against the light of light, the light of the smaller good that is left and is worth fighting for. Thank you.
The speaker spoke for 4 minutes and 9 seconds.
The next speaker is Muhammad Hussain. Hussain, you have the floor.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, distinguished colleagues, today I stand before you to explore one of the most profound and foundational statements in the history of philosophy. I think, therefore I am. Words first coined into existence by the French philosopher René Descartes back in 1641. What I am about to say may sound a bit perplexing, but what if I told you that 2 plus 2 does not equal 4? Or does it? What you see may not necessarily be what you perceive, or is it? Our world as we know it may not be what you think it is, or is it? If you doubt everything around you, your 5 senses, your external reality, or even the mathematical physics,
you would be adopting the very same lens of René Descartes. Displeased and disappointed with the scholastic Aristotelianism which had dominated European university teachings for centuries, deeming them futile, abstract, and quite simply unfitting to resolve the rising mechanistic physics of his time. He turned inwards to search for the very foundation of certainty in a world filled with doubt and skepticism. Descartes made use of methodological skepticism, doubting everything he could until he reached something undeniably true. While one may doubt the existence of his senses, body, or even the physical realm as we know it, one however cannot doubt the existence of his thoughts, thus confirming the thinker's existence. This is the essence of the phrase, I think therefore I am. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not merely a statement about thinking, but about existence in the very act of questioning, in the very act of thinking critically. Descartes affirmed that he, as a thinking being, quite simply must exist. His mind, the indubitable foundation of his reality, his thought then became the very proof of his existence. To question the value of Descartes' insight to us today, an age of constant stimulation, information bombards us from all directions, and we are often encouraged to define ourselves by what we own, what we achieve, or how others perceive us. But Descartes' timeless understanding from all those many years ago serves as a reminder that none of these external factors can ever take away the fundamental truth of who we are. Ladies and gentlemen, we are thinkers, and as thinkers, we have the power to shape our reality, to question the status quo, and to forge meaning into our lives. It challenges us to recognize the value of introspection, of thinking critically, and of embracing the intellectual freedom that comes with the knowledge that we exist because we think. In closing, I think therefore I am is not just a philosophical statement, but a powerful affirmation of our existence, our freedom, and our responsibility as thinkers. It reminds us that in a world full of uncertainty, the one thing we can always be certain of is our capacity to think, to doubt, to question, and to reflect is what makes us who we are. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. The speaker spoke for 3 minutes and 13 seconds.
Speaker number 6 is M. Zuhair. You have the floor, sir.
Assalamualaikum. The topic for today is I think, therefore I am. Permission. I think, therefore I am, Mr. President, sir. A phrase we hear so often that it almost fades into the background. But what does it mean to be? Descartes did not begin with certainty. He began with doubt. I doubt, therefore I think, therefore I am. This is the reason why the playwrights ask to be or not to be. This is the reason why our morals drive us to virtue, and this is the reason why our lives have any semblance of freedom. I think, therefore I am, and because I am, I must act. Ladies and gentlemen, consider the power of a single question. In 1955, in Montgomery, Alabama, a young woman named Rosa Parks sat down on a bus seat and refused to get up. One small action, an action born out of the question, why should I be treated as less? And the course of history shifted. Her defiance laid fire to a movement, a wave of courage and conviction that swept through the nation. Or think of Galileo, centuries ago, daring to say that the earth was not the center of the universe. With one radical idea, he faced the wrath of the church, the threat of imprisonment, even death. But his thought became action. He stood by knowing the consequences, knowing the price. And in doing so, he lit the way for centuries of discovery. Ladies and gentlemen, these are acts that define us. They remind us that thought alone is never enough. Mr. President, to think is to begin. But it is not enough to think. To truly be human, we must act. For thought without action is a seed that never grows, a promise that is never fulfilled. So I say this, I think, therefore I am, and because I am, I will act. I will act for justice, for truth, for every voice that has been silenced, and for every life that has been overlooked. So let us doubt, let us question, but let us never stop. Let us move from thought to action, from self to service, from I am to we shall be. For we do exist, and it is beautiful that we do. For only then we can make a difference. I thank you all.
Thank you, Chiragh. The speaker spoke for 3 minutes and 34 seconds.
Call upon the next speaker, Mohammed Musa Yasir.
I have been delivering my speech on the third topic, failures must be retold for times or not. I begin this speech in favor. We dance to the same old melodies. We play the same old charades, we wrestle the same demons, and we all sing the same tune. Precisely the same demons from these fragments. The clock strikes 11, and 9-year-old Malik is soundly sleeping in his bed, turns to his right, and continues to dream on. For in dreams, we enter a world that is entirely unknown. Let them swim within the deepest ocean, or let them climb up the highest mountain. The roses, sunflowers, lilies, and tulips, all flowers and symbols of these fairy tales. I am not here to prepare you all for a fairy tale quiz, but to rather illustrate a garden of minds where each sprouting bud and each leaf represent a lesson learned. A lesson learned and a book read. A book full of these very fairy tales read. Honorable judges, esteemed faculty members, and fellow speakers. Imagine a world where fairy tales remain frozen, chilled, or maybe preserved in time. Imagine if Cinderella was still waiting for a prince to save her instead of saving herself, or if Snow White never questioned that she was expected to do the housework for those 7 dwarfs. In a world that's evolving every single day, bit by bit, can we really afford to let a story stand still? I say different. Fairy tales must be retold for our times, and we must be the ones to do it. They've always been more than just bedtime stories. They are the carriers of culture, storytellers of values, lessons wrapped in magic appears to catch. Our values have changed. Our values have changed, and so must the stories we tell. The fairy tales of yesterday were beautiful and enchanting, but born in a world, however, that does not represent, and that does not represent. So let us not be the ones to chain our very own fairy tales. Let us be the ones to set them free and to evolve, to grow, and to let them pass on traditions that will carry forward the previous generation. And let us be the ones to give the younger generation the power to believe. To believe that the world they dream of is within their reach. Because in the end, isn't that what each and every single fairy tale is about? Not just believing in magic, but in the power of God's creation. Thank you.
Thank you, Musa. The speaker spoke for 2 minutes and 41 seconds. Next, we have Muhammad Rajawala.
I'll be speaking on the second topic, and I'll be short. There is some good in this world, and it is worth fighting. In the echoes of war, amidst the rubble of dreams, in the spaces where lives were lost and empires rose and fell, there were always whispers of those who spoke of something worth preserving. When nations succumbed to hatred, when ideologies were indulged in the bloodshed of innocence, there were always those who believed that love, dignity, and equality were worth the fight. Ladies and gentlemen, it was not might that shaped the world we cherish, but the resolute spirit of those who dared believe in the light. In Gaza, where night is cleft asunder by the fire of dropping hell, I show you a mother holding her children close. Her arms a protective shelter against hellstorm. She lights the candle in the ruins of her home, tuning lullabies to her tiny children, somehow audible over the thunder of bombs, as if her words alone could possibly hold their world together. This is good. A goodness that stands unbroken, even as the world around it shatters. In Yemen, where war and hunger go hand in hand under the shadow of doom and gloom, there is a doctor whose hands are raw from labor. His heart bruised from sorrow, he works under the light of a single bulb, stitching wounds with nothing but the thread of faith and hope. Every day he fights a losing battle, and still he says, this is good. A goodness that stands even when all reasons to happen so much. In Iran, where young women enter the streets laden with restrictions, their hair uncovered their head and bowed, their voices ringing out to censorship's tyranny. For every uncovered face, for every lifted hand, for every word spoken in defiance of this fear, lights a spark, a torch, a flame that shall not be snuffed out. This is good, a goodness that stands tall in the face of all, and this is the goodness that lives in us. It is the goodness that lives in you, it is the goodness that lives in me, it is the choice to care when caring seems impossible, it is the choice to love when hatred would be so much easier, it is the choice to reach out when others turn away. The streets of Montgomery echo with the footsteps of men, women, and children. Their voices rising as one, steady and unbroken. Martin Luther King Jr., armed with nothing but words, stood against a legacy of hatred. His heart started dismantling walls that had shackled his people for centuries, and yet still he pressed forward not out of naivety but out of the deep-seated belief that love, dignity, and equality were worth the fight. And as he spoke of his dream, one soul to the next found the warmth of hope. They felt it in every step. They felt it in every chant, in every promise that the world would be more just. And when cynics questioned his resolve, he did not falter, but replied with the strength of conviction that there is good in this world, and it must be fought for. And as I stand before you today, we are asked the same question he was. Is this world worth fighting for? And our answer was echoed through our actions. To our love for our fellow beings, to a commitment to a future that is not tainted by the mistakes of our past, but shaped by the courage to learn from them. Let us carry forth the torch that has been handed to us. For in every act of kindness, in every moment of understanding, in every choice to stand against the darkness, I say to all those who came before
before us and all those that will follow, yes, there is something in this world. Yes, it is worth fighting for. Thank you.
Teachers go for 4 minutes and 10 seconds.
The next speaker is Malik Muhammad Ali Musa Khan. You have the floor.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Mohammed Muzaffar and I will be speaking for the topic where it should be retold for our times. I'll be starting my speech in 3, 2. Once upon a time, in a land far, far away, there was a quiet, peaceful home nestled into the heart of a forest where a happy family lived. Until one day, an intruder decided to disrupt their lives. Without any permission or consideration whatsoever, this intruder sampled their food, vandalized their furniture, even invaded the sanctity of their beds. This is a tale of occupation. This is a tale of an absolute breach of privacy, honorable judges. This is the tale of Goldilocks. Ladies and gentlemen, fairy tales have lived in our time for centuries, shaping the minds of children and adults alike. But let's be honest, many of these tales are relics of a world that no longer exists, propagating morals that would be considered highly questionable today. Fairy tales are more than just whimsical stories. They're powerful tools that shape children's cognitive, emotional, and social development, and this is exactly why they must be retold for our times in a way that speaks to our dreams, our experiences, and our struggles. First off, fairy tales reinforce a very outdated patriarchal view of society. A study conducted by the UCLA in 2009 found that children as young as 6 begin forming beliefs about gender roles from the stories they read and watch. Nearly all classic fairy tales depict a handsome, brave prince and a helpless, beautiful princess, and it seems that all problems can magically be solved by true love's first kiss. I mean, what kind of message does this give to little boys and girls? Ladies and gentlemen, we must modernize these fairy tales to feature empowered, complex characters of both genders. Our children deserve to grow up with role models who have courage, integrity, and kindness at the roots of their success. Cinderella could have taken a stand against forced labor. Snow White could have given us a lesson in treating the differently abled in society as equals. The Beast could have remained a beast instead of turning into a handsome prince. So much for beauty being skin deep. The possibilities are endless. Moving on, have you ever stopped to consider the violence in these fairy tales? A study conducted by Wired found that 1 in 5 parents choose not to read their children fairy tales because of the scary factor. And you can't blame them. Picture the woodcutter hacking away at the wood to get Little Red's grandmother out. Picture the stepsisters amputating their toes to make their feet fit into the glass slipper. Picture the witch screaming in excruciating pain as she is burnt alive after Gretel had no choice but to push her in. This is nightmarish stuff. Psychologists at the University of Michigan found that increased exposure to violence, repeated exposure to violence, can increase PTSD and desensitize young minds among children. We need to retell these stories in a more sensitive way. After all, we don't teach life lessons by drama, but by appealing to the conscience and logic. Ladies and gentlemen, our children deserve stories that are not shackled by outdated stereotypes. For today's heroes, don't wear capes and crowns and come from a castle on a hill. No, they are your teachers, your doctors, your scientists, your activists, and so many others who give back to society. Celebrate them. Tell their stories. That's the only way our children will learn about kindness, empathy, and justice. To quote the American writer Michael Margolis, the stories we tell literally make the world. If you want to change the world, you need to change your story. Honorable judges, the world changed a long, long time ago. It's time to redefine, it's time to reclaim the narrative and and redefine what it is like now to live happily ever after. Thank you.
Thank you, Musa. The speaker spoke for 4 minutes and 12 seconds.
Our 10th speaker today is Hassan and Chiragh. You have the floor, sir.
Assalamualaikum. I'll be speaking against the topic. I think therefore I'll be beginning in 3, 2, 1. I think, therefore I am. 5 simple words that have echoed through centuries, standing as the bedrock of reality, the essence of human existence. But I stand here before you today, not to accept this philosophy as a truth, but to dismantle it. Let us begin with Descartes' most fundamental mistake, the I. He tells us that this I is the core of our being, the very essence that we exist. But I challenge you to ask, what if this I is not an understood foundation, but an illusion? Modern neuroscience reveals that this I in our brain, it is not governed by the I itself. It is a vast interwoven network of cells with over 95% of our thoughts occurring beyond our conscious awareness. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I ask you, if this I and if this thought is so fleeting, how can it be the bedrock of reality? How can it be the foundation of human existence? Something so profound, something so important. Now I ask you, what about those who have lost their mind in injuries, who have shattered their mind due to sicknesses? Are they not real? Are they no longer existent? Do they no longer feel? Do they no longer exist? Are they not human? Are they not being? They are. They do exist. Because existence is far more than thought alone. It is in the connection, it is in the love, it is in the feeling. It is in us. We exist. Yet Descartes would reduce us to cold logic, thinking machines, cold calculators, bound to the realm of reason. But are we not so much more? Are we not a symphony of connections, a symphony of emotions? Something so much more than just a calculator going on a daily basis. Descartes told us to doubt. I tell you to not doubt. I tell you to be who you are. Now picture a mother cradling her newborn child in her arms. She does not think about it. She reaches out instinctively, holding that tiny life in her arms. Because that is not what? That is love. That is feeling, Mr. President. That is emotion. That is what makes the mother exist. That newborn child and that love that she has for that newborn child is what makes her exist, what makes her breathe, what makes her live, what makes her stay and know that she exists because of that. And now consider the very infant. Can he think? Can he reflect? Is he capable of self-reflection? If we were to take Descartes into thinking here, that infant doesn't even exist. But he does. I tell you, he does, as he reaches out for his mother's warmth and presence, as he reaches out for comfort, as he reaches out for peace. He does exist. Because existence is so much more than thought. Life is so much more than thought. It is love. It is connection. And it's a symphony. Because it is in everything we experience, everything we feel, and everything that we stand for, and everything that we indeed are. Reject the simplistic notion of I think, therefore I am, because we are so much more. Thank you.
Thank you. Speakers spoke for 4 minutes and 4 seconds.
Let us call our final speaker, Hamdan Hassan. You have the floor.
My name is Hassan and I will be speaking against the second topic. There is some good in this world and it is worth fighting for. I will begin my speech in 3, 2, 1. When the bloodlust of global hegemons overtakes human consciousness and when their desires to push their agendas eclipse any sense of morality, a darker side of the human race is brought to light. The resultant being guided results by misguided men. Can I start again? I'm sorry, I just lost my train of thought. Should I start this? When the bloodlust of global hegemons overtakes human conscience and where their desires to push their agendas blinds our morality, a darker side of the human race is brought to light, the resultant being guided missiles by misguided men. It is not as simple as just good and evil. The world is complex, chaotic, and often cruel, driven by self-interest, survival, and power. So we must ask the question, what is good? 8.2 billion people, 8.2 billion consciousness, and 8.2 billion different beliefs of what it means to be right. So how then is it so simple to obtain a universal textbook example of a word like good? Adam and Eve, the first two humans to step forward in a world of unblemished perfection. A word foreign to the idea of chaos, suffering, or pain. Yet, even in this world of perfection, they fell. They fell because of the temptation to know about good and evil. This shows that there is
Thank you, Amdal. The speaker spoke for 1 minute and 33 seconds. Thank you, gentlemen, for all the well-articulated speeches today. This event is only possible with the constant guidance and support of our principal, Mr. Syed Muhammad Chiragh Hussain, our bursar, Mr. Khalid Moon, the headmistress senior school, Madam Amna Kamran, the deputy headmaster, Mr. Kamran, and the entire English department. Thank you, sir, and those delays from the maths department. Thank you all, especially the works department, deans, and of course,
As a result of study tabulated, we would request the judges to speak a few words to the audiences. Firstly, and in no particular order of course, Mr. Aitchison.
Assalamu alaikum everybody. It was an honor to be back at our alma mater and to contribute in any way possible. After hearing the speeches, after hearing you all speak, I must say each one of you is really talented and I see a bright future in all of you. When we were your age, I can certainly say we probably were not as confident or as eloquent as you guys are. So hats off to all of you and a round of applause. Regarding the competition, I think it was a very healthy debate, it was a very healthy competition, and it was a pleasure being here. Obviously, you're going to put your results very soon as well. But I see a bright future in all of you, and as always, good to be back home. Thank you.
Next, Barrister Malik.
It's always a pleasure to be here at Aitchison. Not many moons ago, we were students ourselves, and coming here is a journey down memory lane because you're reminded that once we also spoke at the same rostrum, we also shared the same set of experiences that you all are currently engaging in. I'd like to take this opportunity to just share a point with you that perhaps there's a magic formula which is the only thing that I want you to take away from this room today, is that the magic formula exists between your face and the mic. So the greater the distance, the less the irritability. The courtroom one in the Supreme Court is perhaps as grand as this court here that you all are sitting in as audience. The calmer the voice, the calmer the face, the more poignant your narrative is. The 7-8 inches of your face reflects the confidence that you have. The body of your speech was perhaps immaculate in terms of how it was drafted and formulated. I'd like to say that each adversity that you have in life, perhaps for the last speaker, is just an opportunity to learn. And there are countless opportunities that there are in life, and it's always okay to start all over again, because what failure teaches, success doesn't. So it's okay to fumble, it's okay to sometimes miss a line or two, but what is not okay is to leave the rostrum unattended. So always put up a fight. I'd like to leave this rostrum by saying that try and fail, but never fail trying. Thank you so much.
Next, I'd like to invite Mr. Malik.
What an absolute pleasure to be here. Most of all because I get to see, it wasn't a few months ago, it was quite a few months ago that we were there. And there are some people like Malik, Amna, Samara, everybody there who's still there and looking as fresh and young as always, and as intimidating as always. But no comments about them, no comments about you. You guys are doing a great job. It's much better than what we were doing. Back when we were doing declarations, we were shouting and we were being as loud as we could, and that has changed. And the way you guys are dressed, the way you guys are styled, the way you guys are talking, there's a marked difference. I don't remember that impressive when we were doing it. So that's kudos to your teachers for that. क्योंकि अभी जनरेशन में आई है तो मैं आपको ढेर सारे क्वेश्चन दूंगा जितने आपको चाहिए नहीं चाहिए और मुझे The first is that, as Malik said, when you come on the stage, this is the space that you occupy, and this is a space that you need to own. This is your space, right? It took Mustafa Bazi, it took Mustafa Bazi to come here and realize that there was a podium here that he didn't need. And he pushed it aside, which was very good because he then owned that space and he made it comfortable for him to speak. There were a few speakers before him who were very tall and didn't need this podium, but they were restricted by that podium and they couldn't move quite a bit. They were holding the podium because it's a small space. Right? So always be comfortable in that space and make that space comfortable for you. So I personally, appreciate people who come on the podium and make it comfortable for themselves. You need to put your best foot forward, so don't fret about it. Secondly, the speech is a performance. It's also a performance that should not look like a performance. And that's where the catch is. So it should be a performance. You can be interesting, you can be loud, you can be quiet, you can do all those kinds of things. But it shouldn't look like you're acting it out of this Romeo and Juliet play. So you need to find a middle ground between them. And how you do that is your skill. If you guys want any particular individual feedback, I will here right after. You can always come and ask me stuff. A few of the things I love, people who chose the I think, therefore I am topic. All of you did a very, very great job. Because that was a very tough topic, it was a very complicated topic, and you took on that challenge. So that was very great. Just a very interesting
insight. Hassan Qureshi talked about how Descartes reduces the person to a machine. In the next essay, in which he says, I am, I think, therefore I am, this was him just establishing that you exist. In the next one, he says, and I am the one who is loved. So he then shifts that and talks about how he is the one. But I love the fact that you attempted this topic. You guys did this brilliant job and keep going through on you, sir.
Now, the moment you all have been Now, the moment you all have been waiting for, the results of the event, including who will land the Malik Chiragh challenge now. I would like to invite the headmistress to the stage, and I would like to invite the minister to share. I would also like to invite the judges to the stage as well. In third place, we have Muhammad Ali Musa Khan.
मूसा आप खड़े हो जाओ।
In second place, we have Muhammad Ali Rahman.
And the winner of the Malik Chiragh Challenge Cup 2024 is Ryan.
Yes, gentlemen, smile, please. Yes. Should we call all the participants? एक उधर आ जाओ, एक इधर. Good. Yes, gentlemen, yes, ready, please. Thank you.